You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting live from the Concierge Landscape Studios. Right now, it's time for a message from the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association. The MHA Minute is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need an exterminator, you want someone reliable. Give Greg Keener a call at Pest Control Services, 952-894-9748. I always do. Greg's a proud member of Angie's List and the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association. Pest Control Services, 952-894-9748. Tell Greg that Gene and Tony sent you.
If you're renting out a property for the first time, there's a lot you need to know so that you can do it successfully and, frankly, keep yourself out of trouble. Luckily, there's a statewide resource with all the tools you need to run your new business successfully. In fact, the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association regularly holds a seminar called Accidental Landlord, specifically designed for people who are renting out a property for the first time. They also have residential leases, security deposit agreements, a lead disclosure, and lots of other forms. They even have brochures on the principles of successful property management and the eviction process that you can download for free. So if you want to know more about the Accidental Landlord Seminar or other classes about owning, managing, or maintaining anything from a single unit to a growing apartment portfolio, visit the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association's website, mmha.com. That's two M's, mmha.com.
Well, we've talked about a couple things already this morning. We have several other topics, don't we, Gene?
Yeah,
We've talked about the railroad.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about bullies. We want to hear your opinions on anything we say.
It's kind of a full spectrum of topics today, from
the
railroads to bullies to...
Call us with your comments, 651-289-4488.
And kind of in between those two topics, there'd be another one, and that would be the person that we had giving us a call. They left a voicemail in my voicemail box at New Concepts, and this was yesterday evening. And the person said, hello, Gene and Tony, I'm Ken from Brooklyn Park. And they said, I've got a situation that we want to know how you would have handled this. He said that in his homeowner association, they recently had an annual homeowners meeting. And the problem was that two homeowners came with a proxy from the same homeowner, saying that they were able to vote in that person's stead.
So often it's difficult to get enough proxies for a quorum for your annual meeting, but we had two people who brought a proxy supposedly from the same person.
And the person said that it was very distinct that the signatures were completely different on both forms.
Each proxy had a different, someone different wrote.
Yeah, and they said that the property manager said they weren't going to allow either one, and they just went on.
Well, the property manager probably made the right decision. There's some discrepancy here. We can't accept this vote. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you know, to me, on face value, the first thing that comes to my mind is I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. That, you know, are we talking about a situation where there was just a misunderstanding and not anybody doing anything nefarious? You know,
right.
You have Mrs. Smith who talks to her neighbor on the phone. Are you going to the meeting? And Mrs. Smith says no, and they say, well, hey, can I stop by and get a proxy so I can vote for you? And she says yes. But then she doesn't get around doing it, so maybe she fills it out thinking, well, I've got her okay.
So the neighbor signs it for Mrs. Smith.
Signs it, and then Mrs. Smith forgets about that, and another neighbor knocks on the door that evening and says, here's a proxy. Mrs. Smith signs it. So now you have two proxies.
Okay.
But anything nefarious?
So that would be the benign. That would be the benign version of what happened.
Exactly.
Maybe. Okay.
But the other is someone purposely is trying politics Chicago style, I guess.
Someone forged.
Yes,
the proxy is what you're saying.
And how do you? And I think the person wanted to know, how do you handle something like that? What do you do? And ultimately, I mean, bottom line probably isn't going to make a lot of difference with the result of the homeowners association.
One vote, sure.
Unless it was a big issue. But of course, that the person didn't say that. I think they probably would have mentioned that in that voicemail to me if it had been a big important vote.
Yeah.
And you were only one vote away, if there was a tiebreak.
Yeah, it almost sounded more like it was kind of an academic exercise
Yes.
that he was asking the question. Yeah.
And so you're right. I think the way Robert's Rules of Order is, I think the way things would have been handled is how that manager handled.
That's
and
right.
just said,
we have to.
we're not sure. We'll just set it aside.
We have to disallow this vote. Yeah.
It is. They could still use. The proxy for quorum. But
One.
But yeah, one. Yes, not twice. Good point. But not for quorum purposes,
Okay.
but not for voting purposes.
Okay, all right.
I would think.
I don't know about that. I guess.
The second thing is there anything that could have been done? Do you think that there's anything further that could be done if people are concerned about people being deceitful or nefarious in their?
Well, there's always something people can do or
Yes.
will do in this case, but it sounds like it's opening a legal issue.
Yeah,
Don't you think?
Yeah, what would you think of this? What would you think if the board had said something like, we're going to take both of these proxies, and we're going to find out if the one of these was authorized by someone else and forged. Now, if it was the misunderstanding that we talked about before, no, there's no big deal. But if someone purposely forged, do you think the board?
If Mrs. Smith says, "I never talked to this guy or this woman, I never told them they could bring my proxy,"
and then she signs her name again, and it's like the other person's and nothing like that other one, then I think we could probably assume that person did something to be deceitful.
Yeah.
And could the board have, do you think, the authority to fine someone for that?
I do think they have
To
the
punish them
authority
for
to find someone.
Okay.
It depends on what the governing documents say, but in a case like this, I think usually the board could pass a rule about fines for dishonesty, maybe. But again, I think it's opening a legal issue. I think that the board needs to stop and think about it before you start accusing people of dishonesty or forgery or fraud. Those are fighting words, and I think they need to remember that they're representing all the homeowners. They might just want to call the attorney first. Mm-hmm. That would probably be my recommendation.
Yeah, but again, if someone, it's probably in the big scheme of things, it's probably not worth the fight. I'd probably recognize that in the future, this person comes with 8 or 9 proxies next year. It would certainly.
Then maybe we should address it.
It certainly would give me cause for concern. But the other issue, probably isn't a big thing. But there's a part of me that says, boy, if someone has done something deceitful, it's probably not a bad idea to put something in place. I mean, we do have that in other elections too. I mean, in state and federal elections, if there was deceit with people with
but that's a legal issue, right? You don't just slap a fine on someone, accuse somebody of voter fraud, and slap a fine on them. That's where I'm saying it gets a little dicey for the board.
So you think that the board would have to take someone to court for something like that, or do you think?
I'm not an attorney, Gene. I think the board should pick up the phone and call their attorney.
Yeah. Well, I would think that they probably. I would think they would probably could do something like that.
You can take anyone to court for any reason.
Well, not
that.
to court. I would say I wouldn't think that they would even have to do that. I would think that they would be able to have the authority to do that, and if they
find someone.
Yeah, if they
for that reason.
and if they clearly had that kind of information, I think that would be it certainly would suffice. I would think. But what do you think, folks? Do you think that the board could have done anything differently or should have done anything differently? How about the issue of bullying? We talked about that today. Has that been an issue at all? In
your association? We do hear stories from time to time about board members who are being bullied. Call us at 651-289-4488 and let us know what's on your mind.
Yeah. But, we're coming up here to the top of the hour. We probably can't get into any other topics right now, but a couple of other things that we'll just throw out that we're going to be talking this morning that we would love to hear from you on if you have an opinion in the matter. One is, as if the economy isn't bad enough, homeowners in HOAs face new government hurdle in order to get their homes sold. We're going to talk about what that hurdle is, what is causing HOA homeowners to have difficulty in selling their home. We talked about it before. There's that new Florida law. This is probably one of the most creative laws that I have seen in a long time that's helping HOAs get money from delinquent homeowners fast.
Or in a different way.
Yeah, and so I think you'll probably want to hear about that. We'd love to hear your situation, your thoughts on that situation. And we also want to talk about our government are they taking a page right out of reality TV? And could flipping houses be the key to a stable and growing housing market? We're going to be talking about what the government is doing in encouraging house flippers and what that's doing, and we'll talk about what the consequences are, too. And, of course, whatever else is on your mind, too. The number, again, is, Tony?
651-289-4488.
But right now we'll take a break, and after these messages, we'll be back with more Where You Live with Gene and Tony on AM 1280 The Patriot.